It started like any other anniversary. I woke up early, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. I had planned everything meticulously. A romantic dinner at the restaurant where we had our first date, a heartfelt handwritten letter tucked inside a gift box, and tickets for a weekend getaway. After years of ups and downs, I felt it was time to reignite the spark in our relationship. Little did I know, this day would unravel everything I thought I knew about my wife and our marriage. From the moment the morning began, something felt off. My wife, Sarah, was quieter than usual. She greeted me with a weak smile over breakfast, her mind seemingly elsewhere. I brushed it off, assuming she was just tired or stressed. Life had been hectic: work, family obligations, the endless cycle of daily routines. Maybe this anniversary celebration was exactly what we needed, I told myself, clinging to the hope that everything was fine. But as the day went on, her mood didn't improve. She remained glued to her phone, barely engaging in conversation. A sinking feeling settled in my chest. Something was wrong. Had I forgotten something? Had I upset her without realizing it? When I finally asked if she was okay, she dismissed my concern with a brief, "I'm fine." Evening arrived, and I put on my best suit, hoping our dinner would lift the mood. Sarah hesitated before getting ready, as if reluctant to go. Still, she joined me, looking beautiful as always, yet carrying that same distant expression. It felt as though she was physically present, but emotionally somewhere else. At the restaurant, I did my best to set a romantic tone. I reminisced about our past, the laughter, the challenges we had overcome together. She gave me small, fleeting smiles, but her responses were short, almost mechanical. I could tell she wasn't truly listening. My stomach twisted with unease. Something was coming. I just wasn't ready for what it was. The moment of truth arrived with dessert. The waiter placed a small cake before us, "Happy Anniversary," elegantly written in chocolate. As I lifted my glass for a toast, Sarah set hers down, her eyes filled with tears. Before I could ask what was wrong, she whispered, "I need to tell you something." My heart plummeted. The air between us grew unbearably heavy, and my pulse quickened. "What is it?" I asked cautiously, trying to keep my voice steady. She hesitated, her voice trembling as she finally said the words that would shatter everything. "I regret marrying you." For a moment, the world around me stood still. I couldn't process her words. They hung in the air like a thunderclap, deafening and impossible to ignore. I stared at her, hoping I had misheard, but her expression told me otherwise. She looked broken. "What do you mean?" I managed to ask, though my throat felt unbearably dry. She took a shaky breath and finally let it all out. She felt trapped. Our marriage wasn't what she had envisioned, and she had been carrying these feelings for years. "I don't know who I am anymore," she admitted, her voice cracking. "I feel like I've lost myself in this marriage." A storm of emotions crashed over me: anger, sadness, confusion. I wanted to argue, to defend myself, to beg her to reconsider. But as I looked at her, I realized something heartbreaking. This wasn't something I could fix. Her mind was already made up. Silence stretched between us, heavy and unbearable. It felt like time had frozen, trapping us in this devastating moment. Eventually, I signaled for the check, paid the bill, and we walked out of the restaurant without another word. The drive home was excruciating. Every passing second felt like the slow unraveling of everything I thought we were building together. When we arrived, she went straight to bed. I stayed in the living room, lost in thought, replaying the night over and over in my head. I thought about the years we had spent together, the sacrifices I had made, the plans we had built for the future. And now, just like that, it was all gone. As I sat there in the quiet, something shifted inside me. I realized I couldn't stay. Not in this marriage, not in this house, not in this life that had been built on a foundation that had clearly crumbled long ago. By morning, my decision was made. I packed my bags in silence, taking only what I needed. Before I left, I placed a note on the kitchen counter. I hope you find the happiness you're looking for. Goodbye. I didn't tell her where I was going because truthfully I didn't know. I just knew I had to leave. I needed space, a fresh start, a chance to rediscover who I was without her. Months later, I found myself in a new city with a new job and a completely different outlook on life. It wasn't easy. The road to healing never is. But for the first time in years, I finally felt free. I stopped blaming myself for what had happened. I let go of the weight of what-ifs and regrets. Instead, I focused on what I wanted for my own future. Looking back, her confession was the most painful thing I had ever experienced. But it was also the catalyst I needed to find myself again. Sometimes, the hardest endings are the ones that set us free.